Now, let's go on to issue number 2.
I don't know, did you know that Jesus was born again?
Okay, now that statement implies, from Jesus' own words no less, that Jesus needed to be born again to enter the kingdom of God, as Jesus told Nicodemus in John chapter 3. Listen to how Bill explains what he really meant by that statement. That sounds so completely wrong.
What do you mean to communicate when you say Jesus was born again?
I think it was on a Sunday night. I was teaching on on the resurrection and stuff, and it just occurred to me. Jesus, of course, was born of a virgin, which we absolutely believe. So he was born, and then he was raised from the dead, which is called He's firstborn of the dead. In fact, it's called a birth in Hebrews. I think it's Hebrews 1 and in one of the Gospels. Anyway, or Corinthians.
All right, that phrase is found in Colossians 1:15, where we read, "He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation." And then in verse 18, "He is also the head of the body, the church, and he is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, so that he himself will come to have first place in everything." So, Bill, why not say that Jesus was born 3 times? You see how trying to be edgy and playing fast and loose with the scriptures only causes problems and creates a mess that you have to clean up by putting out videos that now claim that what you said is not what you really meant.
I use the word again because there are 2 births described, which means the second could be called again. And it was just to get the people in the room. I would never do that as a teaching, as a point of theology to try to convince people of some new truth.
Okay. So why say something that is sure to be misinterpreted? I mean, as we just saw, Jesus is called firstborn of all creation in Colossians, and then firstborn from the dead. And also we find that in Revelation 1. And as Bill mentioned in Hebrews chapter 1:6, and when he again brings the firstborn into the world, he says, "And let all the angels of God worship him." Bill's problem here is that born again and firstborn have 2 entirely different meanings. Jesus equates being born again with being born from above, or being born of water and the Spirit. But the Greek word for firstborn is prototokos, meaning eldest, or one having first place. So in Paul's thinking, calling Jesus the firstborn of all creation does not mean, as the heretic Arius would argue, that Jesus had a beginning, once he did not exist. That's not true. That's heresy. But rather that the pre-incarnate eternal Son is superior to and has first priority over all that was created through him. Israel is said to be God's firstborn, not in terms of being the first nation to come down the pike, but rather as a designation of a particular and special people of God's own choosing.